Am I the butthole for having my daughter write a morbid school family tree project? My biological family is dead. I was raised in foster care, and so my friends are my family. I met my late husband in college. He was just raised by his mother, who had abandoned him and later died, no adoptive family. As an adult, I've looked into both trees, and our biological ancestors are, to put it mildly, really dangerous people and or dead. My late husband and older son died in a car crash. My daughter is in kindergarten and she, more accurately me, was supposed to do a family tree project for school. I tried speaking to her teacher that this was not going to be a Pollyanna report, but she is one of those people that can't comprehend that sometimes family is a dark subject, and insisted that it needed to be biological. So, I did it. Some of them, like her father and my son, I have actual information for aside from that they're dead. But for most of my family and her paternal family, I literally only have birth date, death date, when they would have had their kids, and cemetery information, unless they were cremated. It was supposed to have 10 pictures, but most of the pictures I have of any ancestors are just headstones. I made a trip when my husband and I first married to take pictures of the headstones, so I included those in there. I only have 3 pictures total of my biological family, and most of them are group shots where I could only label maybe 3 people. I don't have any pictures of my late husband's family from before me and my kids, but I put some of the old ones in there too. So while the other kids had long family trees, my daughter was basically introducing the concept of death to her kindergarten class. Now I'm getting slammed with calls from other parents, the teacher, and the principal. They're appalled that I allowed such a morbid report and are saying I traumatized their children. I don't think I did anything wrong. They wanted a report on her biological ancestors, I gave it, and kept it G-rated. I just didn't lie that people were alive when they weren't. I don't raise her to think that death is taboo or something to be ashamed of anyway. Death is part of life. Most of here/me family is dead, so talking about family just means talking about death, and it's just something you have to accept. Am I the butthole? NTA. The concept of life and death is complex for kindergarten-age children. However, you warned the teacher and she was clear about what she expected from the project. Also, r/malicious compliance might enjoy this story. Reddit link. I feel the teacher likely learned a valuable lesson here, hopefully. I'm a teacher and this was a lesson I had to learn while still in college. My professor had us do family trees and we had to go back as far as we could. My college was oddly diverse for a town so small, so we had a lot of different backgrounds participating in this project. One guy traced his family all the way back to the Mayflower. I'm black, so it's pretty obvious that I couldn't go past 1865. Several of my classmates come from adoptive/foster families or just have no idea who their parents are. The assignment couldn't be completed as directed. When the next class meeting was held, he explained to us that we're going to run into similar issues in our own classrooms. Our students will come from all walks of life and we have to be mindful and respectful of that. I do a family tree project every year. I teach Spanish. I make sure that the kids know that the purpose of the project is to have them work with the vocabulary. It doesn't have to be their actual family. I show them my actual family tree as an example, and then I also show them the Lion King family tree as an alternative. I've gotten some dopest projects as a result. One kid did a poster with Tinker Bell's family tree. Another just decided that she wanted to use her own family, and substitute the members that she didn't like with some of her favorite celebrities. One child decided to make his family tree out of his favorite teachers and no so subtle demonstrate which of us he shipped. We should always be sensitive to our students' home lives. That crap is important. Edit. OMFG you guys. I came home from work. Retail, not my teaching job, and I saw all of these lovely and encouraging replies in my inbox and now I'm crying. You guys are so sweet. I often doubt if I'm even a good teacher, but your kid words mean so effing much. I want to thank all of you individually, but there's way too many and I'm super ready for a nap. Thank you guys so much. And if any of you have questions about teaching or anything, my inbox is open. Fellow teacher here, and I just want to say that I freaking love this project. Kudos to you for being sensitive and inclusive to your students while also creating a meaningful learning experience that allows their creativity to shine. I'm willing to bet that you get to learn a lot about your kiddos through the way they approach this project, and not just about their family's circumstances. I am also willing to bet that this is an activity that really helps you build a positive and supportive classroom community. Doing something like this is a clear signal that you value and respect them as individuals. That sense of safety can't be faked. Your students are really lucky to have you. Kudos to that professor too. That's such a great way to hammer home that these kids are coming from all walks of life to those future teachers. Yeah, there are many things I think teachers need to know before going into a classroom to teach, and this is one of them. I was just talking to my mom about this. People go into teaching saying, "Oh, I just love to work with kids," and they don't realize what the actual job entails. A lot of teachers are also undertrained. Like the programs in their schools don't give them enough hands-on experience. That and the way teachers are regarded in this country is why a lot of teachers leave within 5 years of starting. One child decided to make his family tree out of his favorite teachers and so subtly demonstrate which of us he shipped. This made me laugh out loud, haha. You sound like a great teacher that made the family tree project creative and fun. Thank you for all that you do. That part made me laugh too. I can totally see it. This is super funny. It would be hilarious to hang it in the staff lounge as a talking point, but I don't want anyone to get in trouble for unintentional sexual harassment. Teachers Lounge Ship Wars. That's a Hallmark movie waiting to happen. Cupid Academy. I love that idea, giving the kids flexibility like that. When I worked with CPS and part of the job is often drafting family tree-like things, I always make sure to specify that it's not necessarily blood. Parental figures, teachers, coaches, friends, etc. have all been included. I'll even include things like church or youth group as its one entry. The idea is to figure out what supports are out there and who the family feels comfortable with, so I can prompt solutions like, "Have you spoken to your sister about this?" Or, "Can someone from your church support you when your kids are struggling?" I love that. I'm majoring in correctional psychology, and a huge part of that is creating a plan for going forward, and a lot of that is addressing their criminogenic needs and risks. A family support tree would be an amazing concept to introduce in terms of finding out what support systems they actually have as well as whatever support resources are available. I think it would be a great simplified way of introducing the concept of necessary support to reduce their recidivism rate. I'm going to recommend the book Signs of Safety as an amazing toolkit for how to do that kind of thing. Totally changed how I practice, and really practical stuff, not just theory. It gives you questions like, who would you call when you have to make a hard decision? Who gives you the best advice? If you couldn't pick your child up from school, who would you call to come get them? Lots of questions to help draw out who is in their lives. At the end we have a big complex map and I get to say, look at all the support you have. Wow. We should always be sensitive to our students' home lives. That crap is important. Thank you. I had a teacher that wanted us to do a biography of our dads as a class project. My dad is actually my stepfather. She insisted it be bio father only. Well, my bio father was a drug addict who died by suicide and I didn't even remember him. My mom had to go in to explain the situation to the teacher, and begged her to allow me to do my dad biography on the man who actually raised me and who I considered to be my dad. Luckily, once my mom explained the whole thing in full, the teacher backed down. I want to think you're my age, late 30s, where family dynamics when we were younger tended to be simpler or predictable, and that's what the teacher's issue was. It never should have taken your mom going in and explaining what happened to your dad for the teacher to back down in modern times. My son is donor conceived, and I came up against this issue this year with Father's Day, my son in 3rd grade. The teacher demanded he make an item for his father. My son said that he didn't have one. Teacher said, "Don't be ridiculous, everyone has a father." My son reiterated he is donor conceived and does not have a father. Teacher said, "Just because your mother doesn't know who fathered you, doesn't mean you don't have one." Teacher is now sporting a new butthole where I ripped her a new one. NTA, the teacher was highly insensitive. Also insisted it had to be biological? That sounds discriminatory against adopted people. Tell the principal you attempted to address the situation with the teacher and were dismissed, and that she left your daughter with no options if she were going to turn in the assignment. And why are parents calling you? Is there an open phone list? Did you authorize having your contact info shared with other parents? I was thinking the same. I'm adopted. I hated projects like that. Or where we'd have projects where we needed baby pictures, which I don't have because my birth family hate pictures. She thought they steal your soul. It failed these projects even after explaining I had no baby pics. Some people just don't understand. Came here to say this. My kids' school sends out very detailed list of kids and their living arrangements / parental figures / etc. So they can be sensitive. Some parents complain that it's too prying, but I remember my friend A having to remind her teachers every single June that she's making a thank you, uncle a card instead of a Father's Day card because her actual father committed suicide when she was in the 2nd grade. Some people are really thick about these things. My dad killed himself when I was 9 and every Father's Day sucked totally for me. Especially since I was sent to a Christian private school immediately after he died and they were rich, judgmental, 3-parent family, etc. The worst was when they'd have their Bible study ceremony and would point me out in front of everyone and say, for example, C's father committed the worst sin there is, which means he did not go to heaven. It was probably supposed to encourage people to not jill themselves for fear of hell when depressed, but it made me even more depressed that a God could turn away someone they created. Anyways, I think showing kids early on that not everyone had the picture-perfect family helps in the long run. Number 1, so they aren't so judgmental. Number 2, so they can be empathetic. Number 3, so they understand that death isn't some horrific scary thing. Everyone lives and dies. That hurt my heart to read. I am so sorry. Thanks. I appreciate it. I still struggle a lot even though I'm 25. Today is my birthday, party face, because my childhood was even more tumultuous while he was alive, so I have PTSD, but I could have handled all that better if I wasn't surrounded by people like them. Happy birthday, man. Sorry that you had to go through that. Hopefully every year can only get better. Happy birthday. You should be proud of yourself for recognizing how gross they were and growing despite them. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. May every year you live be better than the one you've left behind. OMG, this is awful. I'm sorry to read this. Also, happy birthday. Yeah, this. My best friend was always told just write the card you'd write if your mother was still in your life every Mother's Day, which I think is effing insensitive as all hell even if her mother was a good person. Yeah, let's make this elementary school kid feel like crap. Good call, but she's fairly certain that her mother once tried and failed to kidnap her from school in order to commit a murder-suicide, and she's happier now assuming her mother is dead. She doesn't actually know, because she always used to pop up every couple of years and stir up a whole lot of crap every time she showed up. I'm sure her teachers would have loved to read about that. That sort of thing sucked for kids from abusive homes, too. I'm supposed to write this nice loving card to a parent who mistreats me. Yeah, okay. Mother's Day and Father's Day sucked because there was such an emphasis on everything that I didn't and wouldn't ever have. I'm also adopted. We were doing Punnett squares in 6th grade. I said, what do you want me to do with this? Teacher said, do your best. I put my real, adoptive, parents' info in and obviously it didn't match up, so I got a failing grade. That is so annoying because you can do some cool things backtracking that the teacher should have suggested. I worked out likely genotypes for family members based on my parents and my sisters before. You could have easily done something like, type 0 blood means both of your biological parents had to be at least carriers for type 0, meaning no one was AB. Or if you are AB, what blood types are possible for your parents? That would have shown you understood without excluding you, and honestly you might find out some horrifying things like cheating with not adopted kids, which is why many schools stopped doing blood typing in class labs. My bio teacher let me do a Punnett of my dog's traits for the 16 one when I told him I was adopted. What in butthole of a teacher. A lot of people wouldn't be comfortable with baby pics in general. Sometimes people are born with physical issues they worked past and don't want to disclose to a classroom of people. Others might not have a suitable photo either because parents never took them or the ones they took were of extremely embarrassing moments. Or people just ask too many questions/comments. I took my ultrasound picture to school in 1st or 2nd grade as part of a show and tell project and it got lost. It was the only copy my mom had. Same. I remember last year we had to bring in pictures of us as children for work and our co-workers would guess who the pictures belonged to. When I said that I didn't have any childhood pictures because I was adopted, they couldn't believe it. Yeah, I hated baby pic projects. My mum got me in my bio, dad got all my baby pics in the split, and then he moved countries, so I literally didn't have any baby pics of me until I was in my 20s, and some extended family found out and made me an album from what they had in their albums. NTA, I tried speaking to her teacher that this was not going to be a Pollyanna report, but she is one of those people that can't comprehend that sometimes family is a dark subject, and insisted that it needed to be biological. So, I did it. A lot of the people who get into education lived very sheltered and privileged lives and have a hard time comprehending the hardships some people face. You tried to explain it to her and she wouldn't listen. Not your fault. I don't necessarily agree with the first part of your statement, having worked in education my entire adult life, but I do agree that it was the teacher's fault. I have never once met a teacher who isn't sensitive about the topic of adoption. This was just a bad teacher, and Original Post had every right to do the project the way she did. Yeah, any teacher certification or professional development program worth its salt is absolutely going to address being sensitive to students' varied home life situations. Assignments like this are not considered best practice in education at all. This is on the teacher, and the school, forever assigning such a project, and then allowing absolutely no flexibility. If you're in the US, there are alternative pathways to becoming a teacher. Although I have colleagues who have a degree in education and still behave like they don't have sense. But also we have ongoing professional development either way, so I don't get why some people still act like their life experience is common. I went to college for elementary education. There were a disproportionate number of early education teacher candidates, wanting to teach pre-K to 3rd grade, who were in it to avoid teaching kids with problems. So yes, I do believe it's more likely to happen in a classroom at that age grouping. Which is absolutely mad to me, because kids with problems at that age are far more likely to be hard to handle because of a lack of diagnosis or their own inability to communicate their needs. Plus, elementary teachers are the ones that should be even more attuned to the possible learning or developmental issues a child might be experiencing so that there can be a timely intervention. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube. And share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.